And today we're talking about something very exciting. We're talking about Gen Zs. I'm sure you're wondering, oh, why am I dressed like this? Yeah, I identify as a Gen Z. Forget about my age. Forget about when I was born. I identify today as a Gen Z. So stay tuned with us as we dive into the world of Gen Zs.
Hi everyone, my name is Oreoluwa Adekoya and I'd like to welcome you to Tiki Talk. Tiki Talks is that space where we talk about career, businesses, how to navigate the workplace and getting ahead with all the challenges that we see in today's world.
All right, so Gen Zs, I hear a lot of complaint. Oh, these Gen Zs, these Gen Zs, these Gen Zs, these Gens that they did this, they didn't do this, blah, 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 blah. And it's amazing. It reminds me of my parents and how our parents used to talk about us. Oh, these children of nowadays. Oh, these children are spoiled. These children are this children are that. And then I listen all around me and it's like we are like just repeating the same old cycle. It's the same thing that we're repeating. And it's just a new generation, right? And, you know, now we have a lot of Gen Zs in the workplace. And I'm speaking to two sets of people today. I'm speaking to the managers of Gen Zs, and I'm going to speak to the Gen Zs themselves. So let's start. To the managers of Gen Zs, you have to acknowledge that Gen Zs are different. They're in a different generation, and you need to understand that, right? In the last couple of 100 years, there have been several generations, the baby boomers, the Gen X, the millennials, you know, the Gen Zs and all that. And then you have the Gen Alpha, those ones, my children's generation. In fact, let's not even start. Let's focus on the Gen Zs, the topic of today, right? Okay, so you need to first of all acknowledge that you're managing a very different generation, right? And you need to tell yourself that the way you manage the Gen Ys, that's the millennials, is very different from the way you manage a Gen Z. You cannot manage them the same way. And the thing is, you have to acknowledge the things they bring to the table. The number one thing is that they challenge the status quo. You tell them this is how we do it, and the first question you hear is, why? As in, if I had a penny for the number of whys I've heard from Gen Z, I'll probably be a millionaire, billionaire in dollars by now, right? And it's always like, why? Why are we doing it like this? Why do we have to do it like this? And guess what? Instead of looking at it like a bad thing, it's actually a good thing because they help to challenge the status quo to say, okay, why do we have to do things like this? Why can't we do it another way? Maybe it was somebody that did it a certain way just because of their nature and all that, and it doesn't fit into today's generation. So it doesn't mean that because they are challenging the status quo, it's a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. The second thing they bring to the table is they are creative. Oh my God, I have seen some levels of creativity from Gen Zs that I have never ever seen before, right? And you need to harness their creativity. Use them, right? Use them in quotes, right? Leverage is the word. Leverage on their creativity. Help them to channel that creativity into something exciting that will be also good for you, your team, your department, the organization as a whole and all. The third thing is they represent a target audience that you need to be going after, right? They represent the target audience that are a very significant part of the market, you know. And guess what? Gen As are going to take after Gen Zs, not the millennials, right? So if you learn how to capture the audience of the Gen Zs, in a way you've captured the portion of the Gen Alphas, because the Gen Alphas are definitely not going to follow the millennials anymore, right? So this is an emerging generation. There's a new, you know, this after COVID, everybody started saying new normal. There's a new normal that the Gen Zs have brought into town, right? And the faster you adhere to it, the faster you embrace it and understand it, the faster, you know, you will begin to get ahead and get, okay, what is it that this target audience wants? And if I want to twist, if I want to start getting additional markets and all that, I need to start focusing on this generation and getting to see what are their needs, what are their wants, what are the things they like, and how can I position myself to give an offering to this upcoming generation. There's so many things that they bring today, but they're very ambitious, you know. They have a lot of energy, you know, and you need to channel this energy appropriately. Channel it appropriately. So apart from knowing what their strengths are and what they bring to the table, you also need to learn how to manage their weaknesses, right? They can tend to be impatient. They want to join the company today and become MD tomorrow. If I had a penny for the number of times I've heard, oh, I aspire to perspire, to respire, and to everything to get to that position, and they're already asking you, oh, how can I become MD? How can I become the head of this department? How can I become the MD CEO, right? They're already asking for more money. Oh, me, I don't want to hustle. I cannot be earning 100K and all that. Please, I want to be earning 1 million naira a month. This is somebody that just feeling NYSC. And it's not your business. It's not their own business, right? It's not like they started a business or something, but they're working in an organization and they already want to start earning 1 million naira from the next month. And they say, oh, this money is small and all that. So they tend to be very impatient, right? And that's something you must know and acknowledge. They want something and they're not ready to wait for it. They want it now and they want to know how can they get it now. And that's tied to what I said about they being ambitious. They're very, very ambitious, They want to learn how to get ahead, and that can be a good thing. But you need to manage it and help them to balance it appropriately as well, to, and let them know that, hey, some things actually do take time. Some things do take time, but you need to, help them to manage that aspect of their being impatient and wanting to get everything today and all that. So what can you do, right? Also, the second thing is the attrition rate is very high. So a Gen Z comes in today and like, no, this workplace is toxic. It's toxic. My boss is not treating me well. Before you know it, tender resignation. What are you going to do? Nothing. I'd rather stay at home than work for these bosses and all that. Then that's where you come in, and you need to know that, see, the attrition rate, the work turnover rate is gotten higher in the last couple of years. And you need to now start putting in measures on how to deal with it, right? So what are you doing? Are you getting trainings? Are you going to always have trainings in your department, right? Are you going to have, I call it a phase-in, phase-out plan. Are you going to have written down the responsibilities and the requirements of the role? Are you going to have something structured such that if somebody leaves and another person comes on board, it's easy for a handover to take place? At least we have a documentation, we have a training manual, we have a training guide where somebody new can easily get onboarded, and then with minimal impacts to your processes, you just need to accept it. The attrition rate is going to be high because there are people that will come in on like 10, 20, 30 years ago, people just wanted a job. They just wanted to make money, right? But, a lot of Gen Zs are coming in these days. I'm like, oh, it's not giving. This office is not giving. Like, I'm not ready to do all this. I'm not doing all these things with you people that you'll be working till 8 p.m., 9 p.m. What's that? I can't do that, And then, they get up and leave and tender their resignation with no plan whatsoever. And that's how they are. You cannot hold somebody's destiny. Yes, you can, talk to them, give them query, and as long as they're in an organization. But when they tender their resignation, you have no power over them. So that then it becomes your problem on how to get your task achieved with nobody if you didn't have a plan, right? So you need to ensure that you have a plan for that attrition. You have people on board. Probably you can interview a couple of people and have people in the pipeline that you can bring on board if somebody decides to leave and all that. Have a succession plan for every role in your team. If this person leaves, who is the person that can be an emergency successor and can take up that role pending when I find somebody else to do it and all that. So ensure that you also have your teamwork organized, documented. Even when you have Gen Zs in your team, ensure that they know what is expected of them. And it's clear. There's no ambiguity. There's no, oh, I expected you to know. No. You need to be clear. And they like it when you're clear with them and you tell them, this is what I expect, this is what I want you to do and all. If something is not in their JD, they will not do it. Of course, some of them will do it. But a lot of times, you need to tell them that, oh, sometimes we might require you to work on weekends. Sometimes I'll require you to do another person's job, if it's not available and all that. Make it clear. Make it clear so that they understand and they realize what they are getting into. They're also very social media savvy, right? Which was something that we didn't have a lot in our generation. Like, when I was in school, I didn't have Twitter, Instagram to deal with and all that. So, like, these are actually the social media generation. they grew up with social media. So social media is ingrained as a part of their lives. And then you're wondering, oh, why are you always on the phone? Why are you always checking Instagram? You're always on Twitter, blah, 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 blah. Yes, as the manager of the team, you should bring in that discipline to the team to say that, okay, if you have stuff to do, I don't want to see you on social media and all that. But you can also harness their social media capabilities, because trust me, there are some things that your team, depending on what kind of team you work in, there's some things that your department might need, right? When it comes to social media, even you personally, you might need some help with something on social media. Oh, have to update your reels, your stories, or blah, 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 or threads, or X, or whatever. Yes, you can leverage them. You can turn that, that social media savviness, turn it around and make it into something positive. Ask them, oh, can you search online? Do we have, something similar like this? Use their area of interest and turn it around into something positive for your team, for your department. One more thing, actually. So you need to consciously create flexible policies for Gen Z. I heard of an organization that they allow people to have side hustles, right? And these things have come to stay. Yes, you might not be the HR, you might not be in charge of setting the policies for your organization, but in your team, how can you foster that flexibility? Because flexibility has come to stay, especially with COVID coming in with working from home and all that. Are you allowing your Gen Z, and not just your Gen Z, your team members, are you allowing them to work from home? Are you giving them that freedom, right? I'm sure everyone knows, or most people know, that you don't have to be physically in the office to be productive. The person that will be productive will be productive, and the person that will not be productive will not be productive. So it's not only about working from home or working from the office. So give them that flexibility, right? And allow them to, do the things that they need to do in the time that they're given. Now, to Gen Zs, yes. You thought I was over? No, I'm coming for you. Be coming down. Say to yourself, I will be coming down. I know that you want to become CEO tomorrow. I know that you want to earn $1 million tomorrow. And if this office is not giving you what I want, you go and look for the Microsoft and all those other companies that are paying. But where you are, right? Your most important thing is, what am I learning from here? What value am I adding? I've seen so many people that want to be earning money and they have nothing to give. They have no value. Have you sat down to learn and to get a value, a $1 million value? Are you sure you are giving $1 million value? Yes, if you're sure you're giving it, oh, beautiful. Then start looking for the place that can give you that money that is commensurate with the value that you're giving. But if you have not gotten to that level yet, and because your friend or your colleague is earning $1 million and you want to earn it as well, it doesn't cut it, right? So your priority, especially in your first place of work, is learning. No matter how bad an organization is, you can learn a thing or two from them. Even if the organization is bad, you can learn how to navigate in terrible workplaces. You can learn how to navigate in toxic workplaces, because there's no guarantee that everywhere you find yourself will be good and pleasant. You will find some toxic workplaces that pay you $2 million. And then you ask yourself, should I stay or should I go? And I know you might think, oh, mental health and blah, blah, blah. But there's a way to navigate it. There's a way you can navigate all the toxicity and come out on top, right? But if you have not learned it at a lower level, then when you get to a higher level, you will not be able to deal with it. So the question, before dropping that resignation letter and quitting, oh, my mental health, this place is toxic, I'm not earning as much as I want to, ask yourself, is there something I can learn from here? Is my learning over? Have I learned what I need to learn from this position, right? The second thing I'll say to you is growth takes time. Growth takes time. Yeah, there's a 9 months that a baby needs to grow. And no matter the fertilizer you put in the woman, the baby is not going to grow in 3 months. No matter what. Humanity has existed for thousands of years, and they haven't found a way to grow a baby in 3 months. It takes 9 months, right? Some things can be accelerated, and I totally understand. Some things don't have to take 10 years, but there are some things that definitely take time, right? You ideally will not join an organization today, and then by the next month you're made the CEO. It won't work. It won't work. Yes, from the first day you can start delivering value and all that, and then with time, the value that you bring to the organization is seen. But to think that you can become the CEO by the next week or the next month is absolutely impossible. And there are some things that just take time, and you need to be ensure that you are being patient, and you are not rushing and you are not overdoing things, right? The next thing I'd like to tell you is you need to be respectful. Something funny happened to me the other day. So we had an event at the office, and we had T-shirts, right? So they were giving out T-shirts, and I asked this lady, "Oh, please help me get." She was an intern, so I said, "Oh, help me get the T-shirt for myself that I need." So she said, "Okay, what color?" I told her the color and my size and all that, and then I stepped out of my desk, and then I came back, and I noticed that she brought a color and a size that was like 2 sizes bigger than me. And then I said, "Oh, what happened? Why did you bring 2 sizes?" She was like, you know, where the clothes are is very deep inside and all that, and you know, that I can't really get to where it is. And you know what irked me was the attitude, right? And then I said, "But I can't wear it. It's large, right? I don't wear large." At that time, I was wearing small. You know, and then I said large and small, like, how do you expect me? She was like, "So you want me to go inside?" And I'm like, "Excuse me?" Oh, because up until that point, I was smiling and everything, and I said, "I'm not joking here. I'm not going to wear a large T-shirt. Please go back inside and get me the correct size," right? And for me, I was like, "Come on, yes, you are a bloody intern," right? And then she's coming to tell me, "Oh, I should have said large because she couldn't go to the back." For me, that was outright laziness. Laziness. And yes, don't come and form, "Oh, we're cool, we're G's." You know, I can easily tell you, "Oh, we're a large instead of a small." That's absurd. That's absurd. Gen Zs, be fearing God. Be fearing God. The woke generation, like, you know, I can talk to anybody. I can say my mind. I can speak my mind. I can spew everything that is on my mind, especially if you have decided that you are even going to leave the organization, and then you say stuff and all that. No, right? You never know. You never know where you're going to meet this person or this set of people in the future, right? You have absolutely no reason to be rude. None whatsoever. You can say what you want to say. You can say your mind and still be respectful. You can say what you're thinking without being rude to either your colleagues, to your line manager, your superiors, and all that. It's not necessary. Ensure that in everything you do, you respect the people that are around you. And then finally, I want you to ask yourself, right, am I more wired for a business or wired for career? I see it's a trend that happens with a lot of Gen Zs. I see you guys are very enterprising. You guys, you know, think of ideas, business ideas. It comes easily to you guys, right? So don't frustrate yourself and an organization by forcing yourself to stay somewhere where you're not wired for. Sometimes you might be in an organization for a period. You're there to learn, right? You're there to learn, okay, how do I run a business? I don't just want to start from scratch. Let me go somewhere, work for a bit, even develop clientele, right? It's a good starting place to develop your first clients. But ultimately, you need to ask yourself, you know, are you fitting a round peg into a square hole? Are you more wired to, you know, do your own thing, start up your own business and all that, and then stop forcing yourself to looking for the right organization that will pay you because maybe you're scared or something of putting in the work and all that. And one thing I usually say, if you want to start a business, it's a good thing to have a career and start it on the side. So you're doing like, you're getting like best of both worlds. Like you're understanding how the business world goes, watching people make their mistakes, you're learning and all that. And then immediately you're trying it in your own business. You can start at a small scale and then decide to, you know, build it up and leverage it into something, right? But ask yourself really, because it's a trend I've seen, a lot of Gen Zs are wired for business. And ask yourself if you're really wired for business, and, you know, stop frustrating your boss. Stop frustrating your colleagues as well, right? So I hope everyone has learned a thing or two, both the managers of Gen Zs and the Gen Zs themselves as well, right? So thank you so much for joining us today. Until we meet you again, it's Oroluwa signing off from Tiki Talks.